Okie dokie. I am currently having some issues with my Horizon RAMDisk, and I want to kind of catalog those here in video for a moment. There are certain behaviors that the RAMDisk is supposed to have when you're doing certain things, and I'm not getting anything that I should be getting right now. So what I want to do is sort of show what's going on here, and that way we can all maybe have a chance to take a look at it and see if we can come up with a solution. Okay, so this is my screen. I have my RAM disk installed in my expansion box here. That's in place. I have my ROS and my configuration file are on disk 2 over here, and we are going to see what happens when I try to do anything. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to run some TI Basic. Now I currently have the RAM disk set up as disk 5, so if I have this set up properly, I should be able to save a basic program to disk 5 and then load it directly back out from disk 5. We should see the activity on the card LED, and we should be able to prove that this works. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll write us a little program. Okay, so here we're going to do disk 5.test. Now, when I hit enter, the RAM disk should light up red, which it did. You saw it right there on number 3. So that's good. That's what it should do. So now we're gonna quit, and we're gonna go back in under TI Basic. We're gonna say old disk 5.test. And if this works, I'll hit enter and it'll pop a caret up underneath, and we should have the program loaded back. If it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, then obviously it'll give us some sort of a I/O error. Let's give it a try. Okay, we got I/O error 50. So this leads me to sort of believe that something is amiss here, obviously. So let's just make sure that our RAM disk is set up properly. So we're going to load editor assembler, and we're going to pull up our configuration program, our CFG, and that's a program file, disk2.cfg834, which is configuration of ROS 8.34, which is the most recent version. So we'll hit enter, and it'll pull up ROS, or pull up the configuration file, so it's loading. Okay, so it says here, it reads that at CRU address 1000, we have a Horizon RAM disk detected. It shows the total size is 384, and Rambo RAM is okay. So it's showing that it's here. Okay, so we're going to hit enter, and it takes us here to our setup screen. Okay, power up on is no. We do not have it on auto power up, which is what we want right now. We don't want it on auto power up, and I'll show you why here in a minute. So let's check our drives to make sure our drive is set up properly. We'll hit D for drive, and it shows here disk number 5. Disk name is RAMDisk, so we'll just go through this again. Do we want it write protected? No. And let's just reformat it, just to just to make sure it's formatted properly. Okay, we're going to use all the sectors available to us. Okay, so it is there. It is functioning and it should be ready to go. So we'll hit function 9 to get us back. And our stuff should be saved here. So we're going to do quit. And we'll do function equals to quit out of here. So we have formatted this disk. So we're going to do the same test again. We'll just make it quicker this time. Okay. Okay, same problem. Okay. So now we're going to try to boot this thing up in auto. So first of all, we have to turn auto back on. So we'll do that by running disk2.cfg834. We'll pull this thing back up again. We will edit our configuration here. Okay, so E for edit. And we're going to scroll through here. Power up on, let's say yes. Okay. So now function 9 to exit. Q for quit. So now when I restart, it should immediately try to run menu, which is the first thing on my disk, or the first thing that's supposed to be on my disk. And if it doesn't find menu, it's supposed to auto start my cartridge, which happens to be the TI editor assembler cartridge. So let's go ahead and hit function equals and we'll see what happens. And it locks up. Okay, it locks up with the RAMDisk on. And this is not normal behavior. This should not be happening this way. Okay, so now that auto start is on, we have no way really with auto start on to get back to where we need to go. So we're just going to shut the computer off. Okay. Okay, but the RAM disk stays lit, and it shouldn't, but it is. So we'll turn it on again. Same problem. So the only way to make this work is to hold shift, is to hold the shift key while we restart the computer. So we'll shut the computer off, we'll hold shift, turn the computer on, and it will bypass the auto start. Okay. So these are the things that are happening right now. I have tried fresh installs of ROS and CFG multiple times, and have thus far been unsuccessful in getting a stable stable environment in which to work. There have been some times when I've been able to get it to save and load basic programs. There have been other times when I have not. And right now, no matter how many times I refresh and start over from scratch, I cannot seem to get this thing operating properly. So the next step is to pull the memory chip. Let's go ahead and turn this off and power off the TI, power off the, we'll power off the disk drives back here. Okay, so the next step for me is take this thing off of here, set it off to the side. The next step here is to pull the RAM disk. By the way, before you start thinking about it, I have pulled all of my cards and have reseated each one of them, cleaned them up. It seems like everything is functioning as it should. As you saw, the RAMDisk is recognized. Unfortunately, unfortunately, it's not functioning as it should. So we are going to pull this RAMDisk. Let's have a look. So this is the chip right here. That's the chip that houses the DSR and also houses the configuration for ROS. It looks like a fairly competent chip, capable chip. But that's the one right there, the KM6264AL-10. So the last time I had an issue, I pulled that chip and reseated it, and it seemed to help temporarily, but I do not know if that is going to help again this time. And I'm kind of afraid to do it because the last time I did it, it struck me that a couple of the legs seemed maybe slightly flimsy or less stable than they should be. But as of right now, all the components on here are fine. This battery has been replaced recently within the last couple of months. And I've gone through and looked at all the solder connections. Everything looks good. The back of the card looks nice and clean. All the connectors are good. Unfortunately, it's just not functioning as intended. So I have some work to do, and hopefully you guys can have a look-see, and maybe we can work this thing out together. So that's it for now. We will hopefully have a chance to discuss. Thanks.